Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. Update on my illness. I still have a very bad cough, which is not fun. My voice sounds awful. And the weather pretty much reflects that, so I will show you what it looks like outside. So it's lovely rainy this morning, hence why I've got several lights on. So today's video, if you couldn't guess from the title, is about stationery. So what I'm planning on talking about is stationery that I've bought over the first year and things that I have specifically bought to take into second year because I've either used up all of them or I've run out of them. So let's get on to the actual video, despite the weather. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is pens, which in my case are in a lovely tin can. So in this tin can I have several coloured pens, which you can see, a lot of black pens and a few biros from Open Day. So this one is from Manchester. Pens are very useful, funnily enough, but not just the sort of black or blue pens that you had to use at school, because I go to a sixth form college and there's no particular restriction on what we can use. So I personally choose to write in pencil like the heathen I am, unless I'm writing an essay, and then I tend to use a biro, but I don't have an example of the biro because they all run out just before the mocks, and because the mocks were all on paper, I was like, I suppose I better write in pen, even though they were internally marked, so it didn't really need to be black or blue pen, but it was good practice. If you're a first year looking for stationery advice, always carry at least 2 pens, because you can guarantee that there will be someone in your classes that never has a pen, and that is a really good way of making friends actually, being that person that always has the pens. Because highlighters, pens, everyone gets forgetful, but if you start bringing pens to people, then the chances are when you're in need, people will help you out too. The next sort of item of stationery that I'm going to talk about is in this pot, which is actually a proper pencil pot, which is the only one that I have. And these are Pentel Energel pens, and I have got several of them in different colours. I've got green, orange, purple, blue, darker blue, a pink and a red, and black obviously. But these are really useful if you're making mind maps or revision materials, because they look really nice to write with. They stand out on post-it notes if you're writing in a colour on the post-it note still, and they tend not to fade as much as other, a biro might if you put it on the wall, because that's something I noticed when I started rearranging my stuff on my walls this summer, is that lots of the things that I've written in biro, you can't read them anymore, and I hadn't noticed. But these pens are definitely one of my favourite things to use for revision, alongside post-it notes and obviously Quizlet, because who is a language student without Quizlet, to be honest. And then the third sort of thing in my pencil / pen jars is this sort of miscellaneous one, which has a few coloured pencils. I don't know where these have gone, but I got these last year and I tended to use them quite a lot for art, but I haven't really used them this year until I got the academic planner, because I wanted to colour in when I've done a day sort of thing. Some pens I got off my tutor when I left school. A cactus pen that I won in Spanish last year, which I really like because it's funny and a bit funky, to be honest. So that's quite cute. And then also a whiteboard marker, but this has run out, so I need a new one for my planner. Well, I'm looking at my planner currently because it is sort of behind you, but I want to do a desk tour as well, so I will show you the planner in that video probably. And then probably what's the more important thing in this jar is mechanical pencils. So this is definitely a personal thing for me, because most people I know that do humanities subjects, other than art, don't use pencils at all anymore. And they're the physics people, STEM students use them a lot. But I really like writing in pencil, especially these pencils, because they're really easy to write with quickly, and my writing doesn't look as messy as it does maybe in pen when I'm writing quickly. And probably the staple of all of my revision notes are these post-it notes, because I just use them so much. Like, you've got for me, I use them much more in Spanish than English for notes, because if there's a word that I don't know in Spanish, it goes on a post-it note and it goes on the wall somewhere, in the hope that that will help me learn it. If I need to remember something, like a note, so like a question or something that I need to answer, or an email I need to reply to, that goes on post-it note on the wall in front of me, so it's in my eye line. Then I think the sort of next thing that I'm going to show you is my planner, which I showed you in I think the last video, which is Jack Edwards Academic Planner, which I think is super useful. It's like designed for students by a student, so I really like that. And I'm just going to lock my thing. I kind of discussed that in the last video a bit more, so I'm going to leave that because it is just super useful. And last year I didn't have a planner. Well, I sort of did. I had an A5 notebook, but I tended not to use it that much because I didn't particularly like writing in it in that sense. Because it wasn't a planner, it didn't feel like a planner, whereas the academic planner feels like a proper planner. It's organised. It's got a space for my timetable, which I really like. So when I get my timetable, that can go in there. And then, now I've sort of talked about what I make notes with, I think I should talk about what I make notes in. And because I'm very basic, I use these, and they were on offer on Amazon a few weeks ago, so I bought 3 because that is sort of what I got through last year. So I thought that is like the ideal number again, because we're not even doing as long a year, because I think this year I finish on the 5th of June, that's my last exam. Because you can find, like, if you're going into year 13, you can find out your exam timetable now, because you can find the individual exams online, which is, like, if you were one example of something that's really easy, but because all of my examples for my subjects are different, I had to go to 3 different websites to find out when the paper was. And I thought my Spanish, I was looking at the AS one to start with, and I was like, whoa, this is really early. I was like, no, they're not. My Spanish exam is my last exam, so that is that. But I use these pads, and I really like them because the paper is really high quality. They are really like the ideal size to be carrying around because they fit really well in my bag, and even if they get wet, they tend not to look awful, which could be because writing in pencil. I can't believe that I forgot to talk about highlighters. So I use highlighters quite a lot for my subjects, so I'm showing you yellow, blue and purple. So for me that is Spanish, English Lit and UCAS stuff. But all of my pastel highlighters have a like specific subject or thing that they relate to. So light pink is English language, green is college magazine, and orange is a bit like YouTube stuff. And then I also have like the brighter colours, so I think I've got 3 sets of highlighters here, but they're all like colour coordinated. So I'm showing you the pink ones because those were the nearest to me. And these tend to be, so because English language is light pink, these are my English language highlighters. So that's really all I wanted to show today, because it's sort of like what stationery I have, what I use, and what I'm taking to college next year, because it is soon. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe and comment below what you liked about the video or future ideas for the next video. And hopefully I will see you next week with a new video. Bye guys!